By the time I was 13 or 14, I kind of realized that I could take the family slides and put them in sequence with music, and they changed their meaning. The individual pieces changed their meaning. I didn't think of myself as being a filmmaker or anything like that, but I had this kind of feeling about the way images, the context of an image has a huge effect on what it means, both the context in terms of images that come before and after it, and the music or the sound that goes with it. And so I just kind of played around with the slides, started taking slides myself, got when I was 15, I got a 8mm camera for my birthday. So that's kind of where I, in a way, discovered my métier as a teenager, which I didn't really know what it was until I came to the United States after I went to college in England. I came here for graduate school and began to make slideshows that were shown publicly. And I was with Roberta at the time, and we made quite a number when we were in college at Buffalo. We made quite a number of slide pieces. Some of them were even interactive. We had a piece called the Apple Piece, where there was an apple and people sat in a little room about this size, and they had control over the slide remote, and there was a voice that told them to eat an apple, to bite an apple, and to press the slide remote. So they kind of controlled their own slideshow as they were also eating an apple. So that was our big success. CalArts was brand new. It had moved to its new building in 1971. It had been a couple of years before that in downtown LA. But they'd finished the building in 1971, moved in when it was unfinished. So it was really exciting, and everybody knew about it. It was all over the kind of community, the arts community. And the notion of being in a school in which there was the breakdown between the different divisions was discouraged. And the idea was that there could be, again, a kind of Gesamtkunstwerk made between collaborations between people in different departments. It's very exciting to us. It's what we were doing. It's what we were interested in. And so we wrote to them. They were hiring humanities faculty, and Roberta applied as a student, and we were both accepted. I was accepted as a teacher in the humanities department, and Roberta was accepted as a graduate student in the film department. And by the time I got there, the person who hired me had been fired, Margot Kamen. She was the wife of the comedian Milt Kamen, who was quite a big Borscht Belt comedian, apparently, at the time. So she'd been fired. I had a contract, so they had to keep me, but it was clear it wasn't going to last very long. And all of our expectations about the interactions between departments were rather disappointed, I have to say. It turned out to be a bit more of a conventional film school, conventional art school than we had expected. But we finished the amusement park film and found a composer in the music department who was interested in working with us, Carl Stone. So Carl Stone made the music for amusement park and kind of taught me a lot about composing for the cuts, which I really had not thought about before. I didn't think that you would think about making a hit on a cut. I thought you would look inside an image, but that's what he did, and it was really, and it's great. I think he made a beautiful score for it. Actually, I still love it. The film, I don't know, but his the score and the relationship between the kind of architectural images and the music, I think, is quite wonderful. And so we kind of became experimental filmmakers. First of all, there were a lot of kind of groups that had developed in Los Angeles at this time. I think, for example, of the Women's Building that just developed at this period. Secondly, as I say, we were quite often go and hang out at Pat and Beverly's and look at movies. And I think Beverly said, you know, it would be really great if we had a community like they have in London. There was a London Filmmakers Co-op, and there was Anthology here in New York, and Millennium that Ken Jacobs had started. And she said, it'd be really great if we could have something like that. Yeah. You know, Beverly, of whom I'm, is one of the people of whom I'm most fond in the world, has a lot of ideas, which she doesn't really want to be carried out. But Roberta and I were full of energy. And we thought that would be great. So we got together all of the experimental filmmakers that we knew in LA, who were, and maybe I should list them, David and Diana Wilson, Amy Halpern, Pat and Beverly O'Neill, Morgan Fisher and Susan Rosenfeld, me and Roberta, and some friends of ours, Dennis Phillips, Robin Palanca. I think Bill, what's his last name? Bill Moritz. I think Bill Moritz came to the first meeting and said, oh, this will never work. You really don't want to do this. But we're like, okay, we'll call us, Amy said, let's call ourselves Oasis. We'll be the film Oasis in this desert, in this film desert. And if we can find a space, we'll have a screening. So, just up the block from the Women's Building, which Roberta used to go to sometime, was this place called the Haymarket, which was the place that the Los Angeles Communist Party used to meet. I think they owned the building. So Roberta, who's very dynamic about things like this, went and spoke to them, and she said, you know, we do something like you. You know, we're an alternative community, and would you let us have the space for screenings once a week? He said, yeah. And, you know, Mekas's film about Lithuania, Return to Lithuania, whatever it's called, had just come out. So we invited Jonas. I don't think Jonas even came. Maybe he did. And the guy from the LA Times, Kevin Thomas, who was a film reviewer, looked at the film and gave it a positive review. And we had this screening of this Mekas film, Journeys to Lithuania, and the whole of the Lithuanian population of LA, the Lithuanian immigrants came, and the place was packed, and it was a success. You know, and so we did that. I think we started off every 2 weeks, screening at the Haymarket. They began to get a little uncomfortable with the works were not the works with this kind of social impact that they'd hoped for, but they were comfortable enough with us doing it. I don't think it cost us anything. I think we had to bring a projector, but it was really great. It was really great, and we got onto the kind of film circuit, so that the British filmmakers would tour America and they'd make a Los Angeles tour, and somebody would have a new film. Brakhage came, I think, and Rudy Burkhart came, and basically everybody passed through. And it was very easy to program, basically, because, you know, there was always somebody, there was even some publication, I think, that came out about who was going on tour when, and we just incorporated them in the tour, and it was mostly single-person screenings, people who were on tour, and then we would screen our own films. We had a mechanism for screening our own films where we could not suggest our own film, but we could pick somebody else's film in the group, and then we'd pick their film, and we'd have to write a little program note about it. So there's program notes. Pat would often design the posters. So there'd be posters we'd put up. We'd get Kevin Thomas every week to come and review the films in advance, and he would always do it. And so there was an audience. It was quite incredible for a few years.